Apple Presents events at the Apple Store.
Please welcome this evening's guest moderator, Jessica Seinfeld, and our special guest, Gwyneth Paltrow.
How are you all? Well, this is very exciting for me because I have been friends with Gwyneth for many years, and I was there basically when this whole thing came about. And when she had this idea, and I didn't think that the name was going to stick, and I was so wrong. And now here we are. How many years is it?
It'll be 5 in October.
And back then, I don't even think there were apps. Were there apps?
That's a question for an Apple
Yeah,
person.
I'm sorry. I mistook you for the lady that helped me downstairs with my charger. But I can't believe that we're sitting here talking about a Goop app. And it's really been kind of extraordinary how the whole idea for Goop came about. And then you started as, would you call it like a newsletter, the first?
Yeah, it started as an issue, a weekly issue. I mean, it's still primarily a weekly issue.
Yes. You started with the weekly, and now I notice it's become more of a magazine. Is that like an online magazine?
I think, the idea for the website came about primarily because I was sort of collecting information. I'm an innately very curious person. I love to travel. I love to eat. I love to cook. And I had become unwittingly one of these people for my friends who would be the recipient of the phone call, like, where should I eat here and where should I go? And is there a waxer in Paris you can recommend and all this kind of thing. So I started collating all this information. And Goop was originally going to be just a private database for my friends, who would be like you. How do I roast a chicken? How do I? And then I thought, I had access to such interesting people by the very nature of my job and my extraordinary circumstances. And so it kind of came about as a place to share information and ideas. And then over the years it's developed.
Yes, because you could have just kept it private, and you could have just given all of your friends, and you have many, all of these things that you've come across in all of your travels, and spending 6 weeks in one city or another doing a film, and you actually are an incredibly generous person, and that you made something for other people to use and make their own lives a little bit more exciting.
Well, I think in this day and age, we have access to so much information, and the internet's incredible, but it's also kind of a black hole in terms of, there's too much information, there's too much choice, and I think we kind of are living in the curation generation. It's like, who do I trust? Whose opinion matters to me, and I'll go there. And so it's become.
You are the ultimate curator, and you know quality, and you are one hell of an eater. So I love all of your restaurant recommendations.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, we're having dinner after this, and we're going to a friend of mine's restaurant. He's the chef, and he said, "Oh, I'm so glad you're bringing her because she can eat."
God.
Yeah. Okay, so. The app has 3 guides: New York, London, and Los Angeles. And I think it's obvious why you chose those particular cities, but why don't you tell our friends?
I chose those particular cities. Well, New York was first. I was raised mostly here. Well, at Los Angeles, I was born in Los Angeles. I lived there till I was 11, and then I moved to New York City and lived here until basically I moved to London, where I've lived for the past 10 years. And New York was first. I'm very much a New Yorker in my heart, and it's sort of the city where I really came of age, and so that was the first app. And obviously I know Los Angeles very well, and I spend a lot of time there, and I've lived in London for a long time, so those were the obvious choices to start.
And do you have plans for other cities?
We do. We're going to launch Paris next.
Thank God.
Which is very exciting. I've always loved Paris, and I think Paris is the worst city in terms of terrible recommendations from concierges. And I've personally been steered wrong so many times there, and I've lived there. I did a film there a million years ago, and I go quite a lot because it's close to London.
I remember the last time we were there together.
I surprised you in Paris.
You sure did.
We
on a big
lovers.
birthday. Okay.
Yeah, but I'm excited about the Paris guide because I think, Paris is it's such a beautiful city, obviously, but I think it's a place where people really get steered wrong, and this is all the great spots.
And
so
also, people don't have a lot of time there if they're visiting and they want to hit the, great quality spots recommended by you. Would certainly be the best way to do it. So we're looking forward to the Paris one. And when can we look forward to that, Gwyneth?
I believe July. Is that right, Claire? Yes, I got it right.
Excellent. Okay. So the Goop app, it's called the Goop City Guides. And the idea behind it was similar to the Goop newsletter, similar to Goop itself. Explain why you decided to take Goop from the site to an app.
I kind of did the app originally for myself more than anyone else because I wanted, a place to go to travel with where, it's like, okay, where I'm in New York, what's new, where should I go, where do I like here, as much to kind of remind myself of where I love to go and walk and eat and do all of those things. And I think, it's got a lot of practical, for example, when I moved to London, I didn't know that if you have an emergency, you don't dial 911.
Yeah, that is such a great part of this app, and is why I also love it. What do you call it? Because it's a curse word.
It's called, you just said no cursing for
That's why I said it's
minutes.
a curse word. What do you call it?
It's called fuck.
It's called fuck.
So it's the hospitals, doctors, emergency.
And
context.
it's my favorite part of the app because I think that's the word that you say the most.
Thank you, Jessica.
And it's the most appropriate to you.
Thank you again.
You're welcome. You should look for that one in the app, though. It's like when you find yourself in a situation where you need any kind of service or help, sort of, you have services, but then you have fuck. Yes. Yeah, right. So those are both in the app. So you'll enjoy that. Okay, this is something I'm very curious about. How do you decide what gets included in the app and what doesn't make the final cut? And third part of the question is, what do you do when you've had a bad experience somewhere and you want to take someone off the app? Doesn't that make them very mad?
I think I've only done that twice. I don't like to do that, but I also feel like the recommendations are authentically coming from me, and they have to be good.
Right.
And
what if you go back to a place and they are rude to you, which probably never happens?
Rude is okay.
What if they were rude to me and I told you? Would you take them off the app?
No, you can stay on for rude. It's just, but if the food is good,
the food's bad.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Were there 3 parts to that? I'm already.
Oh, sorry.
forgotten.
Yes, no, that was bad that I rushed you through that. How do you decide what gets included?
Okay.
Yeah.
So generally, it's somewhere that I love, that I've been, that I trust. There are circumstances where, there are certain foodies, or for example, people who I really trust. And they say, "Oh my God, this place is incredible.
Yeah.
You got to go."
You have to start trusting other people because this will take forever.
Yes.
With all due respect, for you to go and try everything.
Yes.
And I remember
have
when it
tried
was
most.
just you doing everything on your own, and it was boring because there was no updates. So now you have people I hope that you trust that can add to it.
Yes.
And I'm certainly available.
Okay, good.
My phone hasn't rung.
We update the app very frequently. Information changes, new places go out of business, unfortunately. So we update it a lot.
Yes. Do you have a favorite category in the app?
That's difficult. That's very hard. My favorite category, I mean, it depends on the city. Like, I love the walks in New York City. I love anything that has to do with food, obviously.
I'm aware.
The specialty shops for food, and I'm actually very proud of it. You know, we worked really hard to make it specific and great, and filled with information that you could really count on. It's very well curated, and
It is, and you've included Brooklyn, you've included like off the beaten path places, which is really fun, and especially for people who come to visit New York. New York has many boroughs and many areas that I always hope people visit, and you are enabling that. Thank you. The design is beautiful. I love it. And it really captures your essence and the essence of Goop. You're welcome. How did you decide on that very simple, clean, what did that?
I think that's my aesthetic in general. I like things to sort of speak for themselves, and we found a wonderful illustrator called Bernadette who was able to really, I don't know, make things a bit fun and whimsical without making it too complicated.
Why did you decide to build one app with all the cities instead of building individual ones?
Well, they are individual. The first three come
With the app.
right with the app. I think because the idea is it's for people who travel, and I feel like at this point we're all kind of children of the world, and I wanted it to be more than one location. And also, I think I can't really do anything that's representative of me without including those three cities, because they're such a part of my life. The rest of the ones you can decide if you want to purchase or not.
I like that.
Yes. But it's like buying, a little collection of city guides. They come together.
Yes, that makes perfect sense. Do you have any plans to release any other apps, like not a city guide? Like, what would be the next kind of Goop app that you could do? Because you have all this great product on, the exclusives, the Goop exclusives. Like, that could be a whole other world into itself. Like, do you have any other?
I think we're talking about doing a kitchen app. The recipe section on Goop is our most popular. Thank you. And so I think we're talking about doing that. I think it could be fun to do that. We have a few ideas we're kicking around, but right now we're focusing on the city guides.
Excellent. What's next, Gwyneth?
In what way?
Just anything.
What's next? That's a very deep question, Ms. Seinfeld.
It is. We'd love to see how the app works.
Oh, great.
Can you take us through it?
Yes, we'd love to. So when you get the app, this is what happens. There's the New York, London, Los Angeles city guides. Or you can go to the website and see the Goop collection, or you can sign up. So why don't we click on the New York guide as we're here. And then you go here where we have A Day in New York City, which is it's kind of a short film that we made. Rudy's Eats, I love that section. So in every app that we've done, Rudy is an amazing driver who he's driven me around to various events for years and years and years, and he's a foodie, and he always knows kind of the great lesser known. He'll watch people line up, and so from that he'll determine what is good, and these are his choices. So.
I was surprised that he left off Sal's Pizza, which he always...
Oh, yeah, he didn't give me Sal's Pizza.
He loves Sal's Pizza. I think it's on 9th Avenue.
So these are Rudy's, when you get the food cart on 64th Street, little things like that are great to know. And we have a different driver in every city giving their picks. Is there any particular section anyone would like to see? So these we've included some great New York City bars, classics like Bemelman's Bar in the Carlisle Hotel, which is one of my favorites. to, the cooler walk through a laundromat style speakeasy. There's a couple in Brooklyn, various neighborhoods. But you can go through and find, the ballroom at the Jane Hotel, for example. And then you have a description, and you have all the information and the map. Yeah.
I like how your voice is peppered throughout the whole app. Like it really is you. It's really how you sound. I mean, it's the nice version of you.
Any emergency, 24-hour FedEx, 24-hour pharmacy, children's emergency room, any information, lost or stolen passport service, just useful things, poison control, police for non-emergencies, which is a good number to have. So you get, it's comprehensive, and it's good, and it's direct.
And it's for everyone.
Yes. Absolutely. And then, of course, you have, services and...
And so when you update them, when you do... I got an update the other day.
Yes.
So you have the updates, and then do those also get filtered into the content?
Yes.
So the new restaurants also go into...
Yes, exactly.
Food. Okay.
So it automatically updates directly to the category. And then you won't notice if something's been changed or not, hopefully. Yeah, so that's it. That's pretty much how it works. There's it's, as I said, it's pretty comprehensive. And is there anything else you want me to cover, Claire? The video? Okay. We're going to show a little clip of the video, which is embarrassing, but Claire's making me do it. Early on a weekday morning before the tourists arrive, Soho is still magic. There's no better morning that starts with a fresh pastry and coffee from Balthazar's Bakery. Even though now Soho is chock full of more commercial and high-end stores, there are still gems to be found. Global Table on Spring Street has the best collection of tableware. I always find something special there for my home or for a gift. If you're in the mood for some serious shopping, Soho has your answer. Curve is one of the shops I always visit when I'm in town. They have a personal shopping service, which is incredibly helpful when I'm short on time. Who is this designer?
This is Jen Cow. She's from New York. For work, I would definitely pair this with like a great scarf. Take off the scarf, and then you get a really sexy silhouette that's very clean.
I love finding delicious food that's off the beaten path. I met up with some friends at Shabu Tatsu on a whim last year and stayed for their incredible shabu shabu. Food is to die for, and this cute spot is a real find. Self-expression is everywhere in New York. Teamy is a super cool tea shop on the Lower East Side that sells a large variety of vegan and vegetarian goodies. My daughter doesn't eat meat, so it's a favorite with her. When I was a kid, the meatpacking district was somewhere you couldn't really walk at night. There was only one bar called Hogs and Heifers. Now it's teeming with tourists and boutiques. The Chelsea Gallery area is one of the most special places to walk in the city. I could spend an entire afternoon walking from gallery to gallery, seeing what's on the walls, feeling inspired. I bought my very first piece of art through Matthew Marks at Matthew Marks Gallery. I met up with Adrian Rosenfeld, who talked to me about how to start an art collection.
You can collect prints by some of the world's most famous artists, and they're really quite affordable. New York-based painter Terry Winter.
That's very beautiful. The New York Design Center on 33rd and Lex is smaller and more unique than the big D&D building near Bloomingdale's. Be warned, it's to the trade, so you need to go with a designer. The great thing is that the NYDC can hook you up with the right designer through their Access to Design program. Going uptown is almost like going back in time. I have a soft spot for the Upper East Side with all its old school establishments like the Carlisle Hotel. The Carlisle is one of my favorite places to go for a grown-up drink or to watch Woody Allen's band play on a Monday night. The Sculpture Garden at MoMA is one of the most peaceful and magical places I know of in New York, even when there's a crowd. The room full of Monet water lilies is the first place I really felt the power of art as a child. The High Line is a new gem in downtown Manhattan. They've created an amazing park out of disused railway tracks. It has the most beautiful views of the Hudson River, and there's nothing like the sunset there. That's the Day in New York section. And it sort of takes you through my day in New York and various favorite places that I've been. Did you want to look at the restaurant section really quick, did you say? Okay. We'll look at restaurants for a second. So obviously restaurants, and then we gave pizza its own section. And specialty. That's for for specialty ingredients, for example. So the restaurants are, there we are, Acme and NoHo. There's ones in Brooklyn, all delicious, exciting places. There's Aqua Grill for oysters. Babbo, of course, an old classic. Balthazar. Yeah, so that's it.
I think that was a great overall perspective on the app. I think you did a beautiful job describing it.
Thank you very much.
I think everyone in this room is going to go home and download it, right? I think you should.
Oh, questions. Yes?
I want to know how is your direct involving in the company management and decision? Are you really operative in the company? Thank you.
Yes, I founded it, and I'm the editor-in-chief, and I spend most of my time working on the website. I'm involved in all aspects. All of the content originates from me. I'm very, very involved. I do have a team now to help facilitate. We're a small business, but we're growing, and so I have a wonderful team around me who's helping me grow the business in all of the ways that I hope to grow it. But yes, it's me 100%.
Hi, Gwyneth. My name is Evan, and I saw Iron Man 3 for my birthday, believe it or not. But for Iron Man 3, what was your experience like, and what was Robert Downey Jr. like from your point of view?
Well, I love doing Iron Man 3. It was my favorite one of all of them. I'm so glad you enjoyed it. Thank you. Thank you very much. It was a lot of fun. I love working with Robert Downey. He's a wonderful man, and he's very funny and very irreverent, and he's always improvising, and he makes it a lot of fun to go to work every day, basically. And I got to wear the Iron Man suit, which made my son very, very happy.
Will the app include proximic references to other places in the near area?
Yes, that is a great question, and it's really nice that I used that today, where you can go on the locator, and there's all little G's everywhere for Goop.
Oh, yes.
It's so well done.
Do you mean that, or do you mean the surrounding?
Yes, references to other surrounding places that are points of interest in the app.
Yes, it's in the What's Near Me section.
Yeah, it's great. Really well done.
So you can be in any neighborhood and click on it, and assuming you allow it to determine your location,
yes,
which is a frequently asked question I've noticed. Yes, little G's will pop up, and
you'll feel surrounded by Gwyneth.
I just wanted to say before my question, I just bought your cookbook, and I love it. I lost 10 pounds.
Oh,
so
wow.
if this
Thank you.
thing doesn't work out for you, you can become a nutritionist.
Thanks.
My question was, my favorite part of the app is the Rudy's Eats. and I noticed him outside when I walked up, and I was going to tell him how much I love San Marzano. So I was wondering if he's had, like, people approach him and be like, I know you. This place is great. This place isn't great. Is that something that he has to deal with now?
I don't know. You should have asked him. He's out there somewhere. Rudy is very specific in his opinions, so I'm not sure anyone would sway him necessarily, but I think he has been recognized from the app a couple of times.
I have a question about, you referred to us as the curation generation. Can you talk a little bit about the act of curating? Because I think we're all curating many different kinds of things to share with our networks, and what that's like and the feedback you get.
Yeah, I think, I went to Goldman Sachs hosts a private internet conference every year, and I went to go hear everybody lecture a couple of years ago, and I heard a very interesting talk from the CEO of One Kings Lane. Are you familiar with that site? It's a furniture site. And he was basically sharing data about the amount of choice leads to kind of a dead end. And if you have a site, we all have access to so much information that actually people end up inert. They don't make a purchase, they don't follow through, it's overwhelming. And I think we are the curation generation. It's like with Instagram and Pinterest, and we're sharing what we love, what inspires us. And I think the idea for most people, for all of us who use these types of social media, we're curating our experience in a way, and we're sort of saying, this is my experience, and I'm curating it for you in case it may touch you in some way or inspire you in some way. And it's actually very powerful, I think, where we are sociologically in terms of, the shift, what the internet gives us and makes us capable, the ways in which we're capable of connecting and inspiring ideas. I think it'll be amazing to see. I think about it with my children, when they're adults, like what will be available to them, in such a specific way, and what they'll be able to output, in this way. So
I have the app. I like it. I like how it's iPhone and iPad. So if you buy it on one, you have it on both. That's a big thing. The other thing, I like the culture section. I think that's my favorite. I like how it kind of has like a little bit of everything. And so the other thing I was going to say, I'm from Boston, so I think Boston would be a great city to maybe add in the future. I'd love to see that.
I agree.
And then the other thing I was going to ask is, do you have any other iPad or iPhone apps you use a lot that you'd like to share with us today?
Sure. Well, if you look on my actual phone, it's misleading because my children, I have every rat on a everything ski that you could ever. Have you heard of these things? Rat on a jet ski, rat on a skateboard. I don't personally use those apps, but it seems that I do. I think that the ones that I tend to use are, pretty basic, like the exchange, currency exchange. iTranslate, I like that one a lot. Pinterest, I actually prefer the app format to the website. I use Redfin for real estate. I use apps quite a lot, actually. I'm forgetting. What else?
Do you ever shop?
I don't shop on an app. I've never done that before. But you know what I do love is, well, I don't know if this is, but the Bon Appetit app is amazing. I use that a lot. It's really beautiful.
Yeah, Savoir has a beautiful one too. Yeah.
Hi, Gwyneth. I was just wondering if there are plans of having a fitness app with Tracy Anderson in the pipeline, similar to the Nike Training Club, because I know that's one thing that you're very much into.
We have discussed that actually, and I think more and more people are working out with their tablets. So I think it would be a good idea. I definitely think she should do it. I'm not sure if I should be in it with her.
Hi, Gwyneth.
Hi.
This is the first time I'm learning about your website, so forgive me if
Not at all.
Okay. Right now, you said you're expanding your staff. Does the website allow for someone to enter a comment that says, hey, I think this restaurant might be worth adding to the website. Can you have someone check it out? And then you would have arrange for someone to consider ending it?
Yes, we have. Well, we don't have a comment section or kind of a posting section, just by virtue of the fact of who I am and also, you know, the brand is about, as I said, curation. And I think for me, when I started looking at sites like TripAdvisor or, you know, sites where there was a lot of input, I find it very confusing. So we have, you know, at the bottom of the site, there are various addresses you can email in, and then people respond back.
I agree with what makes this app so great is that it is your voice. These are your choices, and there are so many different apps out there where you can get other people's opinions about restaurants. There's Eater, there's all these different ones where people are weighing in, and it ends up actually being, you know, mean, and there are sort of unnecessary comments. And the thing I most appreciate about your app is that it is such a clean experience, and it is your voice.
Hey, Gwyneth, I'm Mariano from Argentina. I just want to tell you that you look amazing, and I love you. And I was wondering, when are you visiting Argentina, because I'm single now.
Well, I'm not.
I don't know anything about this.
No. I would love to. I've been to Argentina a few times, and it's very beautiful. I'm sorry that we never met, because my life would have been much different. But thank you for your very kind comments. Oh, hi.
Hey, Gwyneth, what's up? Oh, okay, I'm sorry. I wanted to know, what does Goop stand for, though? Does it have like a like GP, like Gwyneth Paltrow?
Yes, exactly. It came out of, everybody calls me GP in my life. And when I was thinking of a word for the site, I wanted it to be a word that meant nothing but could mean everything. And we were kind of just brainstorming, and so I didn't even come up with it. A friend of mine said, "What about Goop?" And I thought, that's terrible. And then and Jessica agreed.
I agreed.
And then I named it that anyway. But yes, it was to do with my initials. Yeah, that was the impetus.
Thank you all very much.
Yes, thank you
for
all.
coming.
Thank you so much for coming. It'll be 5 in October.
And back then, I don't even think there were apps. Were there apps?
That's a question for an Apple
Yeah,
person.
I'm sorry. I mistook you for the lady that helped me downstairs with my charger. But I can't believe that we're sitting here talking about a Goop app. And it's really been kind of extraordinary how the whole idea for Goop came about, and then you started as, would you call it like a newsletter, the first?
Yeah, it started as an issue, a weekly issue. I mean, it's still primarily a weekly issue.
Yes. You started with the weekly, and now I notice it's become more of a magazine. Is that like an online magazine?
I think, you know, the idea for the website came about primarily because I was sort of collecting information. I'm an innately very curious person. I love to travel. I love to eat. I love to cook. And I had become unwittingly one of these people for my friends who would be the recipient of the phone call, like, where should I eat here, and where should I go, and is there a waxer in Paris you can recommend, and all this kind of thing. So I started collating all this information, and Goop was originally going to be just a private database for my friends, you know, who would be like you. How do I roast a chicken? How do I? And then I thought, you know, I had access to such interesting people by the very nature of my job and my extraordinary circumstances. And so it kind of came about as a place to share information and ideas. And then over the years it's developed. And
Yes, because you could have just kept it private, and you could have just given all of your friends, and you have many, all of these things that you've come across in all of your travels, and spending 6 weeks in one city or another doing a film, and you.
Apple presents events at the Apple Store.
Please welcome this evening's guest moderator, Jessica Seinfeld, and our special guest, Gwyneth Paltrow.
How are you all? Well, this is very exciting for me because I have been friends with Gwyneth for many years, and I was there basically when this whole thing came about. And when she had this idea, and I didn't think that the name was going to stick, and I was so wrong. And now here we are. How many years is it? You actually are an incredibly generous person, and that you made something for other people to use and make their own lives a little bit more exciting.
Well, I think in this day and age, we have access to so much information, and the internet's incredible, but it's also kind of a black hole in terms of, there's too much information, there's too much choice, and I think we kind of are living in the curation generation. It's like, who do I trust? Whose opinion matters to me, and I'll go there. And so it's become,